Hey y'all, welcome back. I'm not pulling any cards right now because I need to go ahead and recall this dream for you because this possibly is tied to some information that's been coming out in the readings. And there's one situation involving a home that I'll tell you about that was in the dream. And then there was a separate situation, and they could be connected, I don't know, but it looked like a daytime brawl out fight in the middle of the street or on the sidewalk rather. And then this also had to do with someone pointing a gun in someone's face. So I'll give you the first one about the house. Well, I'll give you that first. Anyway, so this the reason why I know that this possibly has to do with someone losing their home is because in my dreams I kind of am able to join in the scene, anonymously. Like I become the person and then that person is speaking through me, but I'm just there to kind of, involve myself in it, I guess, to get information that way. That's the only way I can explain that right now, but that's how my dreams are. Like a lot of times I don't know anyone in the dream. And if certain people pop up, like I haven't seen them in a long time, then it's just more or less a character reference of like who they may be like or what lifestyle they may have or who they are as a person. Like I would maybe like personally know how their character would be set up by way of someone that I have known or came across in the physical realm. Anyway, y'all, so let's get to the house situation. So it was myself and my own mother, which is deceased, you guys. So we're walking through a home and there are pieces of furniture. Like the mood is like really somber, right? So that kind of let me know that somebody is going to have to handhold an elderly adult or older adult, could possibly be their own mother. But this mother is losing their home. And the way that this is coming across to me is by way of how, I was interacting in the dream and things I was saying. But I'll let you know. So this person is somebody who had accumulated like big pieces of furniture. So that let me know that they've been in this home for a long time. Because, these days nobody moves like big pieces of furniture around. And it just felt like it also was like a long-standing situation because they had like two big pieces of furniture in one room, like that would like be like drawers to hold clothing when you really only need one, and then the two pieces didn't match on top of that. And I know about the matching part because I was saying that, oh, you know what, you should keep this one because it matches like this part could have been like a bed or something, maybe the wood grain. To me, in my vision, the wood grain was the same, but it was like a lighter shade of the same wood grain. So I know that's something that one would pay attention to, especially if they're being forced to have to relocate and they don't want to part with their things. So it's kind of like, just making it make sense at the same time, but also accepting a harsh reality was the energy in this. Something else that came up, I remember opening like a cabinet door, like, it was a double door, like it was a separate piece of furniture, but looking in it, like the three shelves that it had inside, the items inside looked like they hadn't been touched in, a couple of years. So my mind frame at that time in the dream was, okay, yeah, so since we open this up, you're not, these things haven't been used in like 3 years. So, what's the need for this? So that whole energy that I was in was like trying to make someone of a elderly or older, or even my own mother, trying to help them with the idea of them having to leave their home. Just being really careful and very thoughtful and compassionate, all of that stuff. But I can tell you the role that I was in, that was the energy that I had. But at the same time, when I'm looking on the outside in, This is someone who knows that they caused this. They caused their mother to lose their home. So they don't really have a lot to say. Yes, they're accompanying this mother from possibly room to room, maybe not even, maybe it's just like a main room that they both share together. But this person like has their head down and they're trying to accept defeat and they're just at a loss. Like I'm telling you, it was grim. It was very grim. But if it were me inside of that person just wanting to like, okay, let's try to talk this out without, me upsetting them because this is terrible. What it was my placement inside of that person, like what I wanted to feel for that situation, if this makes any sense. And I can also confirm that this has nothing to do with them having to sell things to be able to come out of debt of some sort. That's not it. This is like a final resolution. They have lost their home. And this adult child possibly lived with this mother. So therefore, them knowing that they caused this, they got to find somewhere to go to, but they're still leaning on this mother figure. If this is an adult child, I'm talking about in their 30s, even 40s, that's still leaning on this parent for support. That's why they're quiet, because they don't want to say anything that's going to make the situation worse, because they've already did it. Like it's final. They got to leave. Oh, I was saying that I know it doesn't have to do with a sale of property to pay a debt, because it's like if that were the case, it would have been like, oh well, if we get rid of this piece of furniture, it's beautiful, we can maybe get $400 for this, somebody will buy it, somebody will pay $250. It was none of that. It didn't have anything to do with coming up with funds. All right, so that's that situation, y'all. It's very sad. It's really, 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 really sad. All right. So the second situation, y'all, this is kind of crazy because this was the last dream that I had right before I opened my eyes. So it was really fresh and it was crystal clear. Now, this is during the day where I saw, it felt like an energy of people running outside of a situation to get to the street so they could be free, because it was something happening inside of a building. Now, it kind of feels like I was across the street from the building watching all the action, possibly sitting in a car for a moment, because I switched positions to where I came involved in a little intimate circle, and that's when it really got real. But for now, I'm just seeing people run outside of what could have been a club. Like it could have been an energy to where there was music blasting inside. So it's like when you hear that metal door, like a back door open, you can hear the music, but then when it shuts, it kind of becomes like a little mummish, the music. Now, the people that were running out were scantily clad females. And then there were guys in the crowd as well. But there were like, I want to say it was like a daytime club, maybe. Or maybe it was a party in the daytime that would normally be like in a club nighttime sort of atmosphere. It was confusing because it was daylight outside. And it was a party going on in the middle of the day. All right, so let me set this up. So now I'm seeing a little fight break out, but then this is when I'm transitioning into a little group of people that are just kind of sitting. It's weird because it was like a real life couch on the sidewalk. So I don't know if that registers for anyone, but it also makes it feel like it was just a comfortable space for people to kind of meet together outside of this club. Like that was like maybe a little hangout space. So a fight breaks out between some females. Somebody's really getting clocked over the head, because I'm like, ooh, if I get to see that person up close, they're going to have lumps all over their face. That's how that was my perception of what was going on. And at the same time that was happening, like I said, I was transitioning to someone who was in that little intimate circle, because that's where the action moved over to. All right. So in that regard, the girl who was getting clocked over the head, she was somebody that I've known in my personal life, but I haven't spoken to this person in over 15 years. I couldn't even tell you what kind of life turned out for them, because I have no idea. But I can tell you about this woman's lifestyle. So this woman happens to, at the time, would have been like into same sex relationships. So that could be something that would stand out. Like I said earlier, if I've known someone and they kind of pop up in the dream, to me, that's just, spirit showing me like personality or character or something to identify with to try to get more detail. So I will say this. Now, the club reference, because there was a mix of both girls and men, not everyone was scantily clad, but for the most part, like the girl that ran out that I just told you about, she had on like a little skimpy two-piece something. But the thing is, this girl wasn't like a feminine girl like that when I knew them. So that kind of lets me know that this person possibly had to maybe become a part of some sort of community, because obviously they weren't fitting in if they were getting in fights in the middle of the street, right? So I don't know if that's fitting for anyone, but that's kind of the reference and what I can tell you about, that person in particular. If this happens to sound familiar or be a key player in your life and what's going on, then take that. So anyway, I'm, in the circle, and there's like, a couple of other girls. One of the girls was like a Tisha Campbell. If you remember Tisha Campbell from Martin, Gina is very expressive and very good at what she does, right? As a person, an actress. Like, she can be the comedian, she can be serious, she can be all of these things, but that's what makes her great at what she does. The reason I'm mentioning that, because this is a different person who was over, she was kind of seated in front of me, but to my right a little bit, because I kind of pivoted a little, but I just remember that energy coming from the right side and almost in front of me whenever she was positioned that way. Anyway, what I'm trying to get to is, there was one main female that she was in an uproar. She was destined to find out some information, and I know she was serious because she had a gun. All right, so the Gina girl, the one I said that could put me in the mind of Gina, because this Gina's also somebody how, she's so serious and so good, you don't know if she's lying or not, but that's a good actress. That's signs of somebody who's really skilled in acting, right? I say that to say, because whoever that main person was with the gun, the girl, and I'll tell you who she put me in the mind of too. I don't know this woman from Adam, but I can tell you that if this were a person I could, identify the girl with the gun with, it would be her. And I believe her name is Suki. And I feel like she, is on the show, what is that? Hip Hop Miami. I've only seen 1 or 2 episodes, and they're probably clips I found on YouTube, because I wasn't really interested in that. And I am like a reality fanatic. Like, I like to watch, those shows and the characters and, try to see like where they went wrong. Sorry. I mean, but they put it out on Front Street, right? Like, all of them really have issues, but they made it, And I'm not judging. I'm just saying, like, don't come for me. But like that real boisterous, like the power that she has, but it's like, still rough around the edges sort of thing, but they kind of run things. I don't know why or how they know that they have all of this power. But anyway, back to Suki and the gun, right? I'll call her Suki. She comes out that metal door, because she goes back into the door and comes back out again. So that's why I'm making that reference. So at first she's like wanting information. It's almost like a whodunit situation. She's wanting names. Like, were you involved? She's like going from person to person, because I'll tell you, she kind of looked at me, but I'm like, why are you looking at me? I don't know these people, but I was, inside, not inside, but I had already subbed with someone else, so I could kind of get like the feel for whatever this is, because the person who I, had traded places with, they were clueless. they might have, known a couple of people in the group. And I told you about the main person that ran out that was getting lumped upside the head. Possibly knew that person, but anyone else there is kind of like, you're like a tag along, like a +1. You don't really know these people, but you're there. So that was the feeling. So this, with the lady with the gun, I don't want to keep calling her Suki because that makes me feel like I'm making a reference to the actual Suki person, and I don't know her at all, anything about her. She's starting to point the gun at people's heads. And let me get back to the Tisha Campbell girl, the Gina girl. Gina is trying to plead for her life with those acting skills. Could possibly even be an actress in real life. I don't know. But the Gina character is like, okay, I'm going to tell you. She kept stalling with the same, no, this is it. I'm gonna tell, one of those types that's like kind of stalling and leading you in, but they're trying to perfect the perfect lie, or either they're thinking about telling the truth, but they're not. So that lets me know the Gina person is really the one who did it. The messed up part about it, Gina, I'm looking at Gina and I'm like, Gina better not say it's me. That's the feeling that I had in the dream. Whoever's body that I was taking part of, that's the feeling that they had at that moment. So this is someone who was about to be accused of something that they didn't do because their life was on the line. Gina's life was on the line because she's the one who actually did it. But she's looking at an innocent person who don't know nobody there, and she's saying, she's about to say that they're the ones that did it. The only thing is, I woke up. I can't even tell you how that ended. But I remember the pressure coming from Gina and how she was about to look at me and name me as the person. And I didn't even really know anybody there. But I knew that somebody was about to get shot, and it was going to be me. Or whoever I was in that dream. Not me particularly, but whoever I traded places with. So somebody innocent, somebody who had nothing to do with nothing, because they trusted this person. And possibly Gina, they were the +1 to Gina. Maybe they came around because Gina invited them around. Gina's the one I'm calling the one who possibly is the actress in the group. So because of Gina and her antics, because she's the one that really is the one who, should have been dealt with. Because even the friend I told you that got lumped up, she was pleading for her life because she was about to come over and ask me to vouch for her. She eventually made it over to where I was, but this woman with the gun is like wanting answers now because she's about to shoot somebody. So yeah, y'all, that was a lot. I just wanted to explain what was going on here, because this is something that possibly could take place in the daytime. But the only unfortunate part is the person who did it is blaming a totally innocent person, and the innocent person is the one who's going to catch the bullet from this gun. Because I feel like the Suki character, she wanted answers behind, I felt like it had to do with a man. She wanted to know who done it, who slept with this man that she thinks is hers or thought was hers and is no longer hers because of a situation. And it was Gina. It was the Gina character. But Gina's about to send that energy over to whoever I transferred to, who totally knew and nobody there but the girl who was getting beat up, and then Gina. So I can see how Gina would say, oh, there's a connection there. Let me blame them. My quote unquote +1 friend who really doesn't even know these people. So Gina set things up to where, she wouldn't catch that bullet. Anyway, y'all, I hope that makes sense to somebody. I wanted to pass that along because I did have an inside view of, someone losing their home, unfortunately. And then, this fight outside of a club in the daytime scenario and somebody ending up pointing a gun and possibly shooting somebody. And this would have been like a square between the eyes, like right in the face, like broad daylight shooting. Because nobody, in that scenario, everybody was scared to move because they knew this woman wasn't playing. The woman with the gun, she was not playing games. All right, y'all. I hope this helps.